SoCal Padres pregame show on the Padres Radio Network.
Yeah, Machado laces it in the air to deep left. This one gonna go!
Coming up, we'll recap the last Padres game, preview today's starting pitching matchup, give you our keys to the game. Plus, we'll hear from manager Craig Stammen. From the Padres Radio Network, here's Sam Levitt.
San Diego Padres baseball coming up on 97.3 The Fan and the Padres Radio Network. As tonight, the Padres take on the Detroit Tigers in the final game of a three-game series. Our starting pitching matchup tonight for the Tigers, right-hander Jack Flaherty, and for the Padres, right-hander Randy Vasquez. Hi again, everyone. Sam Levitt with you from inside the loft here at the Western Metal Building at Petco Park. First pitch coming up at 5:40 p.m. as the Padres wrap up this season-opening three-game series. Coming up in the next 50 minutes, we have a lot to do. We'll hear from Padres manager Craig Stammen. We'll hear from tonight's center fielder Jackson Merrill. We'll hear from tonight's DH Nick Castanos as Castanos makes his first start in the brown and gold. And in just a little bit, we check in with Padres radio voice Jesse Agler. But first, it's time to set the table, brought to you by Fraser Farms Market. Set your table with the highest quality of natural and organic products from Fraser Farms Market, a San Diego original since 1971 with 3 locations, La Mesa, Vista, and Oceanside, and at FraserFarmsMarket.com. Well, 2 games into 2026, the Padres are 0-2. The Tigers are 2-0. Padres have not lost 3 consecutive games to begin a season since 2018 when they lost their first 4 straight games. So the Padres trying to avoid that fate here in 2026 today. Randy Vasquez making his first start of 2026 after posting a 3.84 ERA in 133-plus innings last season. Meanwhile, Jack Flaherty on the mound for Detroit, a 4.64 ERA in 31 starts last season for the Tigers. Before we fully focus on this series finale, let's take a look back at what went down last night.
Did you miss what happened in the last Padres game? Let's take a look back with our Padres Rewind on the Padres Radio Network.
Our pitching matchup last night, Michael King on the mound for the Padres, Framber Valdez on the mound for the Tigers. In the second, Michael King got a little help from Jackson Merrill.
1-2 pitch here in the air to center field, straight away and deep. Merrill's going back. He's on the track at the wall, leaps up, and he got it! Jackson Merrill takes a home run away from McGonigal. Not today for the rookie. We'll hang a star for Jackson Merrill right at that 396 marker in front of the palm tree. And Kevin McGonigal, welcome to the big leagues.
So a great catch by Jackson Merrill right by that 396 mark. As Jesse said, we had a 1-1 game in the bottom of the 6th inning with 2 outs and Jackson Merrill on second base. It was Ramon Laureano.
A look back. Now the pitch. Laureano in the air to right field. Well struck again. Carpenter racing back. Going to be over his head and off the wall. Merrill scores. Laureano into second base. A go-ahead RBI double. It's 2-1.
Padres still had that 2-1 lead going to the 8th inning. Jeremiah Estrada issued 3 straight one-out walks. Riley Green hit an infield single to bring in a run. It was a 2-2 game. Estrada then struck out Spencer Torkelson for out number 2. The Padres then went to Wandy Peralta to face the rookie Kevin McGonigal with the bases loaded. A very long battle. It went to pitch number 10.
McGonigal swings, lines it into right center field. Torres has scored. Keith is right behind it. Fernando's throw comes in towards second base. And Kevin McGonigal at it again. A 2-run go-ahead single in the 8th inning. And the Tigers lead for the first time tonight. It's 4-2.
Tigers weren't done. Dylan Dingler singled to bring home another run. It was 5-2, and that was about it last night. Tigers putting together a 4-run top of the 8th inning, taking a 5-2 lead. Tigers bullpen shut the door, and that was it last night. Final score in the middle game of this 3-game series, the Tigers 5 and the Padres 2. And now we flip things to The final game of this series, first pitch coming up at 5:40. Of course, an off day tomorrow for the Padres. Then they welcome in the San Francisco Giants for a 3-game series beginning on Monday to wrap up this season opening 6-game homestand. As always, if you want to get involved on our pregame coverage, you can do that in a variety of ways. You can find me on X at Sammy Lev, SammyLev. Instagram DM's open as well. Sammy Lev there too. You can also chime in on the 97.3 The Fan YouTube stream. Let me know who you are, where you're tuned in from, and if you have a key to tonight's game. How do the Padres get a win here tonight? Would be their first of 2026. You can let me know. I may just read your key to the game live here on the air. Let's check in with Jesse Agler.
Let's take the pulse of today's game. Jesse Agler joins us for a deep dive into today's matchup in our game preview. Brought to you by Amvutra. Ask your doctor about Amvutra and visit Amvutra.com.
Well, Jesse, let's focus on today's starting pitcher for the Padres, Randy Vasquez. It feels like going back to the start of spring training and even last year, there's been a real confidence about what Randy is becoming, his progress, and it feels like the expectations for Randy are really high this season, what he can provide. It'll be pretty interesting to see how his season starts here tonight against what has been a pretty good Tigers offense so far.
Yeah, no doubt about it. I think low-key, one of the really sort of big storylines we'll be following early in the season, because Randy Vasquez is a guy that is coming in with big expectations, but a little bit under the radar. The reality is, he's not one of the first 3 names you're going to talk about. I think if you're just sort of, a regular fan or somebody who follows this team casually, but I think for those of us who are, kind of living and dying with every pitch and out at spring training, as you and I were, we recognized, Randy Vasquez might be something of a linchpin in this rotation. You know what you're getting in terms of the top of the rotation. You sort of understand what's going on at the back of the rotation, but sitting there right in the middle is Randy Vasquez, the guy who threw 7 shutout innings against the Brewers, who won more games than any team in baseball last year. He did that in late September. 1 hit in 7 shutout innings against Milwaukee at the end of the season last year. A guy who's throwing the ball very, very hard in spring training, and a guy who has worked very, very hard to kind of get to where he is. It will be fascinating to see where Randy is, maybe a month from now after a handful of starts to begin this season.
On the other side of this pitching matchup today, right-hander Jack Flaherty on the mound for Detroit. We saw the first 2 games of this series, Skubal, Valdez, both very solid. Feels like if Jack Flaherty can have a bounce-back year, Jesse, like that would really round out the top of the Tigers rotation, make it very formidable, although he is a guy the Padres over the course of the last handful of years have hit pretty well. Yeah,
they've handled him very nicely, but look, there's no doubt that is as good of a 1-2 I think as you could possibly see, right? I mean, Skubal's the best pitcher in baseball. Framber Valdez, when he's right, is as probably flummoxing of a pitcher as there is in baseball. The Phillies have a great 1-2 punch, certainly. The Red Sox have a great 1-2 punch with Crochet and Sonny Gray. But, I mean, for my money, I would take the Tigers' top 2 guys against anybody in all of baseball. So that's what the Padres were up against in the first 2 days. And look, Flaherty, he lost more games than anybody in the American League last year, but he is a quality starting pitcher. There's no question about it. You mentioned it. Pods have handled him very, very well. And so, you hope to see that continue today. Fernando has been a very big thorn in his side over the course of his career, both in the regular season and the postseason. One might remember he was on the railing of the dugout here at Petco Park screaming at Manny Machado after the whole thing with Dave Roberts and the supposedly thrown baseball during the playoffs in 2024. He kind of walked that back last year before he faced the Padres in the regular season. There's that whole thing, not really hanging over it anymore necessarily, but, he's a guy that they've always seemed to have a pretty good game plan against the last few times they've seen him, and we'll see if that continues here tonight.
You mentioned Fernando Tatis Jr. Let's segue that into talking about the lineup tonight, because Fernando is not leading off. He's batting second. He did lead off the first 2 games of this series. Nick Castanos getting his first start as a Padre, DHing and batting 8th. But I want to focus on the top of the lineup, Jesse. You have Jake Cronenworth leading off against the right-hander, then Fernando Tatis Jr., then Machado and Merrill. I guess kind of a 2-part question here. Seems like Craig Stammen is going to be a little bit more malleable with the lineup than what we saw last year. And what do you think Jake Cronenworth brings out of that leadoff spot potentially against a right-hander?
Yeah, I think you'll see the malleability, particularly in the early going here. He wants to play around with it, kind of see how everything looks, see how these guys respond, see how they feel to the different things. I think Craig is open-minded enough that if something really clicks, he's going to stick with it. So I don't think he's going to be malleable for the sake of malleability. Not sure that's a word. I think he's looking for different things and kind of seeing how they go. And, if that continues all year, so be it. But if it doesn't, it doesn't. He's going to be very open-minded about it, which, as far as I'm concerned, is very much how you should go about it. So that's kind of the first part of your question there. As for Jake, look, he brings a tenacious at-bat to the beginning of it. You were there in Peoria with Tony and I in that miserable heat all spring long. We saw him lead off 9 times in Cactus League play. It felt like every time he led off a game, it was 6, 7, 8 pitches at least against the pitcher, whether it was the top of the first inning or the bottom of the first inning, a bunch of foul balls, just making life tough on that guy to get things going. And, you start to think about it, right? If you're Jack Flaherty or whoever out on the mound and you got to battle along against Cronenworth and he's fouling pitches off and just being generally annoying. And then, oh, by the way, 23 is in the on-deck circle.
Yeah.
And 13 is standing on the top step of the dugout. That's not a fun way to begin your night. So, I mean, as far as I'm concerned, I like it a lot. I didn't necessarily know what I thought about it, at the beginning of spring training when we started to see it. But once I did get to see it, I started to like it an awful lot. And obviously a big part of that was Jake had a phenomenal spring at the plate. Hopefully that continues here in the regular season.
Jesse, good stuff as always. We'll talk to you and Tony Gwynn Jr. coming up at 5:30 as the Padres try to salvage this series finale against the Tigers. As always, thanks so much.
You got it, Sammy.
That is Jesse Ackler joining us on our EcoWater SoCal Padres pregame show here on the Padres Radio Network as we get ready for first pitch coming up at 5:40. The loft is buzzing already on this Saturday evening. Plenty of people here enjoying their beers and their mixed drinks and some of the great food here at Petco Park. Lots of great food here at Petco Park. So if you're on the way to the ball game, please do have a good time here tonight and make sure you try something new, maybe here at the ballpark, food or beverage wise. Should be a fun one as the Padres try to get a win here tonight. Would be their first of 2026 after dropping the first 2 games of this 3-game series. When we come back, we'll hear from Padres manager Craig Stammen. Plus, a little bit later, we hear from Jackson Merrill and Nick Castanos, our keys to tonight's game. Full look at the out-of-town scoreboard, what to watch for, and much, much more to do. We're just getting started on a late Saturday afternoon, turning into early Saturday evening from Petco Park right here on the Padres Radio Network.
Stay tuned to the EcoWater SoCal Padres pregame show.
Our EcoWater SoCal Padres pregame show continues here on the Padres Radio Network. Sam Levitt with you inside the loft here at the Western Metal Building at Petco Park. EcoWater SoCal, keeping it soft since 1925. Visit EcoWaterSoCal.com or call 760-350-3338. Taking a look at the Padres lineup tonight, it looks like this. Like we said with Jesse in our last segment, looks a little bit different here tonight than it did the first two games of the season. Jake Cronenworth at second base leading off. He's followed by Fernando Tatis Jr. in right field batting second. Manny Machado at third base batting third. Jackson Merrill in center field batting cleanup. Xander Bogaerts at shortstop batting fifth. Gavin Sheets at first base batting sixth. Ramon Laureano in left field batting seventh. Nick Castanos, the DH tonight, batting eighth, getting his first start as a Padre, and Freddie Fermin is doing the catching and batting ninth, with right-hander Randy Vasquez on the mound for San Diego, making his season debut, coming off a very good spring training, very, very good 2025 season. Very much looking forward to seeing what Mr. Vasquez can do here tonight against the Tigers lineup that has been productive. 8 runs scored on opening day, 5 runs scored yesterday. Padres only scoring 2 on opening day, 2 last night. So we'll see if a little bit of a different lineup today can get this offense going. With all that in mind, let's hear from Padres manager Craig Stammen.
Let's pull up a seat in a manager's office and hear from Padres skipper Craig Stammen. Served up by Sinley Food. If you've had better chicken, you must be a rooster.
What are you going to be looking for from Randy in his first outing based off of what he showed you last year and throughout spring training?
Yeah, excited for Randy to get his first taste of the season this year. He's going to have a tough lineup against the Tigers, but, Randy's going to throw a bunch of strikes and get after it. And, looking forward to what he's got for us.
You have Cronenworth leading off today. We saw a lot of that during spring training. What do you like about him in that spot?
Yeah, he does a really good job working the opposing pitcher right from the start. Sees a lot of pitches, fouls a lot of pitches off, has the ability to come back to the dugout and give a good report on what the guys got, what the pitches are looking like. So we faced Jack Flaherty quite a bit, but just having Crony up at the top gives us that little expert, really good at bat to start off the game.
And then with Castanos DHing today, is that because of his familiarity with Flaherty?
Yeah, we're trying to get all these guys a spot, to launch them into the season. And so this is a spot for Nick to get some, get his chance to start. And I think familiarity with having faced Jack Flaherty has something to do with that, yeah.
You guys got those 3 righty hitting cornerbacks in Duvar, Nick, and Ty. How do you, generally speaking, I know it's going to be a day-to-day proposition. How do you view the decision as to who plays? Obviously, they can't all 3 play.
Right, yeah, that's the tough part of the job, right in the lineup with those guys is they're all could be 3 really good hitters, and we try to find, who's hot and keep them hot and how to get somebody else hot in the process too. So, not going to crush somebody playing them every single day. And so we have the ability to play different people at different times. And, hopefully we'll be able to do that throughout the season. And Bryce Johnson's a part of that too. He hasn't got his start yet, but it's coming.
Bringing it back to Randy Vasquez, you mentioned a handful of times in spring just how happy the organization was with his progress last season. How do you view kind of what he's done the last year or two as a pitcher, kind of in a career sense?
Yeah, he's just matured as a person and as a baseball player. What he puts into being great on a daily basis is probably completely different from 2 years ago. I'm sure he would say that same thing too. We always give credit to Yu Darvish with Randy. When we talk about Randy, Yu's been a very good influence on him, has passed on a lot of his knowledge to Randy and some of the work ethic and how he attacks, going into a start. And Randy's picked it up and been open to those suggestions and made it into his own. So, we saw an improved Randy at the end of last season, and we're seeing that same Randy through spring training, and we expect to see him, for this entire season.
With Jake leading off, you've mentioned that it seems like it could be something he really likes doing, that he's excited about coming to the ballpark. How important can that be for a leadoff hitter? Just the idea that you kind of like the idea of what a leadoff hitter means to a ball club?
Yeah, he definitely has a different aura about him when he's leading off. He's excited about it. He views himself as someone that can be the leader on the team and lead the guys into the rest of their bats and maybe ignite something in the first inning to score some runs. So it's always good to have a professional hitter like Jake up there at the top.
Back here inside the loft here at the Western Metal Building at Petco Park, that was Padres manager Craig Stammen as we get ready for the series finale. First pitch coming up at 5:40, just joined by some very nice fans that were showing me their scorebook. We were comparing scorebooks, so that was a lot of fun, and we continue to get ready for this series finale. Everybody having a good time here inside the loft on this Saturday. Before we take you around the horn, let's quickly pause for station identification on the Padres Radio Network.
KWFN-FM and KWFN-HD1, San Diego.
This is Jake Cronenworth. Padres play here on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
And Odyssey Sports Station.
Pitching matchup here tonight, Randy Vasquez on the mound for the Padres and Jack Flaherty on the mound for the Mariners. Sam Levitt with you inside the Western Metal Building. First pitch coming up in 40 minutes. We send things out to Jesse and Tony in 30 minutes. Let's take you around the horn.
Let's examine the most important news and the latest information you need to know in the world of Major League Baseball. Sam Levitt takes you around the horn. Presented by Valley View Casino and Hotel. Get ready for Major League winning when you join Valley View Casino and Hotel's Players Club and receive over $200 in free instant offers. Visit valleyviewcasino.com to learn more today.
Couple of headlines from today's games, and really more than a couple here. A few headlines from today's action. Rangers scratching Jacob deGrom from his season debut today because of neck stiffness. Rangers manager Skip Schumacher said the Rangers expect deGrom to start next week in Baltimore. Marlins placing infielder Christopher Merrill on the IL today with a left oblique strain. He was in the starting lineup for the Marlins season opener yesterday against the Rockies, but was a late scratch. Yankees today looking to join the 2016 Dodgers and 1963 Cardinals as the only teams in Major League history to not allow a run in each of their first 3 games of a season. Yankees shutting out the Giants in the first 2 games of that series. We'll have a look at that score a little bit later. Luke Raley looks to tie a Mariners record by homering in each of his first 3 games of a season. He would join Kyle Lewis and Robinson Cano if he can do that later on today. Chase DeLauder to join only Kyle Lewis is looking to join only Kyle Lewis and Trevor Story as the only players to homer in their first 3 regular season Major League games. He would join Story as the only players to have 4 home runs in their first 3 Major League games. That's another item to watch as far as the Guardians and the Mariners today in Seattle. And finally, Mike Trout playing in Houston today. He looks to become the first Angels player in history to homer in the team's first 3 games of the season. And we'll take a deeper look at the out-of-town scoreboard coming up a little bit later. When we come back, we'll give you the latest on the Padres injury front. Matt Waldron on a rehab assignment now. Sungmoon Sung on a rehab assignment now. Won't spoil too much of it. We'll touch on some of the guys on the IL. We'll also have our keys to tonight's game. Plus, you hear from Jackson Merrill and Nick Castanos. All that and more coming up when we come back right here on the Padres Radio Network.
Hey friends, it's Woodsy here. San Diego Water is rock hard and trashing your pipes. My family's used EcoWater SoCal for years, and we will never go back. My wife and kids love the taste and the soft water. EcoWater SoCal has been at this since 1925. Call now, get a free in-home water test, get alkaline water, leak protection, and easy financing. Call 760-350-3338 or go to EcoWaterSoCal.com. Let them know Woodsy sent you. Not everything in life should be hard, especially your water. Keeping it soft since 1925.
Hey, player. The all-new Hamul Casino Resort is all yours. The hotel tower with some seriously luxurious suites. The super secret speakeasy. Hey, could you make that too? The indulgent spa retreat. Ah. And the epic rooftop pool in Cabanas. It's all for you at the all-new Hamul Casino Resort, the player's place. Book your experience at HamulCasino.com.
Spring is here, but is your home ready?
Padres baseball coming up here on 97.3 The Fan and the Padres Radio Network. First pitch at 5:40. Sam Levitt with you inside the Western Metal Building. Petco Park is already buzzing on this early Saturday evening. First pitch coming up in just a little bit as the Padres go for a series finale win in the final game of this series against the Detroit Tigers. Jack Flaherty on the mound for the Tigers and on the mound for the Padres tonight. Right-hander Randy Vasquez. Still a lot to do. We'll hear from Jackson Merrill coming up in a little bit. We'll hear from Nick Castanos in a little bit as well. Our keys to the game and a full look at the out-of-town scoreboard. But first, let's update you on the injury front for the Padres.
Who's in? Who's out? This is the Bada Fulkerson Injury Report, presented by San Diego's Bulldog Injury Attorneys, who hope you're never in an accident. But if you are, make Bada Fulkerson the first call you make. Hit them up 24/7 at badafulkerson.com.
A few updates for you. Let's begin with Matt Waldron, who struck out 3 in 3 shutout innings for AAA El Paso last night. He continues to build up after dealing with that procedure back in spring training. Infielder Sung Moon Song, currently on the IL with an oblique injury. He began a rehab stint with AAA El Paso yesterday. Right-hander Jason Adams should begin a rehab assignment with El Paso shortly. He continues to work his way back from a ruptured left quad in September of last year. Adam, very good during spring training, kept on building his way up, appeared in a couple of Cactus League games. He should be about ready to go, you would imagine, when he's eligible to come off the IL. Left-hander Yuki Matsui dealing with a left groin strain early in spring training. He has now faced hitters at extended spring training in Arizona. And finally, right-hander Joe Musgrove played catch on Thursday for the first time since he left his only spring training start on March 4th. And we know Joe is continuing to work his way back after Tommy John surgery in the fall of 2024. And that's a look at the injury news on the Padres front. Bottom line is you look at a lot of these guys, whether it be a Song or an Adam or a Matsui or a Musgrove, next month or so, a lot of guys will come off the IL. Padres will have some pretty interesting roster decisions to make when that does happen. But for now, all those guys continuing to work their way back. Well, Nick Castanos making his first start as a Padre. He has pinch hit a couple of times in the first 2 games of the season, 0 for 2 in those pinch hitting opportunities. But tonight, Castellanos in the lineup against the right-hander Jack Flaherty, DHing and batting 8th. Castellanos had an interesting spring. He was let go by the Phillies, picked up by the Padres, signed by San Diego, and then asked to learn first base and learn a new clubhouse and all the things that come with joining a new team. Here was Nick Castellanos on his spring.
I enjoyed it a lot. Had fun learning a new spot. Challenges like that keep the game fresh.
What did you learn about Craig Stammen as a manager during your time in Arizona?
First off, great human. I feel like he has a great balance on his at-home life and at the field life, which for me is important. He really cares about his guys. And honestly, you would never really notice that this was his first time as a manager. I think he handled it very well. I think he did things to keep the clubhouse light. I don't know how much of the staff he picked or AJ picked, but everybody is a really good person and excited to work. So, I mean, just for me, thumbs up across the board.
Nick, with the Tigers in town, I was just wondering, at the beginning of your big league career, if there were, a couple of guys maybe that really helped you along when you were young in the game.
Oof. I mean, the whole roster, really. I think I was 21 years old at that time. So, I mean, I leaned on all the help I could get, but I was very fortunate to have a lot of veterans in the clubhouse. I mean, Miggy, Victor Martinez, Torrey Hunter, Ian Kinsler, Prince Fielder. I mean, Austin Jackson, just to name a few. Even guys on the starting rotation helped me. It's cool that Justin's back over there, being able to, be back where it started for him. But, he helped me. Scherzer, Anibal Sanchez. They're all really good dudes.
How well have you fit into this team, and how comfortable are you with this group of guys?
How comfortable am I? I'm pretty comfortable. How well I fit in, I feel like that's a question for everybody else.
You mentioned that your son was excited to get to San Diego. What's it been like for him just the first couple of days? I think he's right the Joe Musgrove jersey.
Yeah, he loves it. He eats this up. I mean, this is for him Christmas morning, being able to come to the field and, on his own, he was a fan of San Diego. For the first time that he came here, I think when we were playing here in 22 for the playoffs. And, he always wanted to come back whenever we were coming back here. So I think the fact that now I'm playing here and he's on the home side, he's enjoying himself.
That was tonight's DH, Nick Castanos, making his first start in the brown and gold. As we get ready for first pitch coming up at 5:40 here on the Padres Radio Network, we'll hear from Jackson Merrill coming up in just a little bit as well. Let's give you tonight's keys to the game.
How will the Padres unlock a win today? These are the keys to the game on the Padres Radio Network.
Key number one in this series finale. Whoa. Enough with the walks. Walks have been a big issue for the Padres pitching in the first two games of this season. Tigers walked 8 times last night. They walked 4 times on Thursday, and those walks weren't only an issue, but they were really costly to Padres pitching. All 3 batters that Nick Levitt walked in the first inning on Thursday came in to score. The batter Michael King walked to start the 6th inning last night came in to score. All 3 batters that Jeremiah Estrada walked in the 8th inning last night came in to score. So do the math. That's 7 of 12 walks that have come in to score against the Padres so far. That has got to be better. You can't walk people like that. That's key number one. Key number two, runners in scoring position. The Padres are 3 for 16 with runners in scoring position to begin the year. That's hitting 188 in those situations. Now, that's an extremely small sample size, but it feels like last night's game in particular could have gone differently had they cashed in with runners in scoring position a little bit more. So it would be nice to be a little bit better in those spots here tonight. Key number 3, cool down Kevin. I'm talking about Tigers rookie Kevin McGonigal. How good has this kid been? He has put together a spectacular start to his major league career. 5 for 8 with 2 doubles and 4 RBIs in his first 2 major league games. And oh yeah, he almost had his first major league home run, only to be robbed by Jackson Merrill last night. He's been the MVP of this series so far. Padres got to try to send him out of town with his first rough night in the big leagues here tonight. We'll see if they can do that. Key number 4, be good against Gleyber. I'm talking about Tigers second baseman Gleyber Torres. He's reached base safely in 6 of his first 9 plate appearances. And key number 5, navigate the bullpen. The Padres bullpen could be a little short today because Adrian Morejon threw 2 innings last night. Jeremiah Estrada threw 27 pitches last night. And Wandy Peralta has appeared in the first 2 games of this series. So hypothetically, they could be all unavailable tonight. We'll see, but it may have to look a little different out of that bullpen here tonight with a lead trying to get things to Mason Miller. Padres were unable to do that last night. And that's a look at our keys to the final game of this series against the Tigers. When we come back, we'll hear from Padres center fielder Jackson Merrill. You may remember that home run robbery last night. We'll hear from Jackson about that and much more. Also tell you what to watch for in tonight's game. Full look at the out-of-town scoreboard and a full breakdown of tonight's starting pitching matchup between Randy Vasquez and Jack Flaherty. First pitch coming up at 5:40 from Petco Park right here on the Padres Radio Network.
Keep it locked.
Continues here on the Padres Radio Network. Sam Levitt with you inside the loft here at the Western Metal Building at Petco Park as we get ready for first pitch coming up at 5:40. Randy Vasquez on the mound for the Padres. Jack Flaherty on the mound for the Tigers. We'll give you more about that starting pitching matchup in just a little bit. Let's quickly take a look at the out-of-town scoreboard on this Saturday across the big leagues.
Let's take a trip around the bigs to highlight the scores that matter most with our out-of-town scoreboard. Presented by Jensen Premium Beef Patties. Always a hit for grilling.
We have a number of finals already today across the major leagues. Mets beat the Pirates in 11 innings, 4-2. Luis Robert Jr. hit a walk-off 3-run home run in the 11th inning in that game. Marlins beat the Rockies 4-3 in Miami. Reds beat the Red Sox in 11, 6-5 in Cincinnati. Rangers beat the Phillies 5-4 in Philadelphia in 10 innings. Twins beat the Orioles 4-1 in Baltimore. The Blue Jays beat the A's 8-7 in Dylan Cease's Blue Jay debut in 11 innings today in Toronto. Cubs beat the Nationals 10-2 in Chicago. The Cardinals beat the Rays 6-5 in 10 innings in St. Louis. J.J. Weatherholt, the walk-off 2-run base hit for the Cardinals in that one. A few games going on right now. The Angels lead the Astros 3-0 in Houston in the 4th inning. Brewers lead the White Sox 4-0 in Milwaukee in the 3rd. Royals and the Braves are scoreless in the 5th inning in Atlanta. Yankees beating the Giants 2-1 in San Francisco in the 3rd. Couple of games yet to begin aside from this one. Diamondbacks and the Dodgers in LA at 6:10, and the Guardians and Mariners in Seattle tonight at 6:40. And that is a full look at the out-of-town scoreboard on this Saturday. We'll have much more on all those games coming up in our post-game coverage a little bit later on this evening. Well, Jackson Merrill, after taking an over on opening day, he had a really nice day yesterday. Merrill had 2 hits yesterday, including a double. He also had a home run robbery of Kevin McGonigal, who has been so good in this series. But McGonigal did not collect his first major league home run, thanks to Jackson Merrill, who made an absolutely outstanding leaping catch at the fence right by the 396 mark in right center. Merrill very fired up after robbing that home run. Really nice day for Jackson. Here was Jackson Merrill inside the Padres clubhouse earlier today.
All right, we're going to talk about that home run robbery from last night. What was going through your mind as you were tracking it?
Just catch it, honestly. Give yourself an opportunity to catch it. Keep the ball game tied, go from there.
At what point did you know that you had it?
Literally when I hit my glove, because I kind of like 360 in the air to get it. So, make adjustments on the fly and come down with it. Just bring the energy.
Did you happen to see the replay of the fan that ducked out of your way?
Yeah. Everybody was clowning him too in the comments and everything. So I forget his name, but next time just stay on your feet.
By typical baseball standards, you're still new to center field the last few years. How have you improved on balls like that going back towards the fence?
Yeah, I think just being an athlete, giving myself some more space between, my jump and the wall, not jumping like into the wall, kind of helps a lot. Just give yourself space to get up over the wall. And yeah.
I think when you see a catch like that here at Petco Park, a lot of fans think about the Adam Jones catch in 2017 World Baseball Classic right by that 396 mark. Is that a catch you've seen before, something that's popped into your head on a ball like that?
Yeah, no. Any chance you get to Robert Homer, the adrenaline gets going. It's really fun. Jonesy did it the best out of all of us. Of course, he robbed Manny, so that's kind of funny. But, no, just, a lot of adrenaline going, kind of a blackout moment. And just, it was a lot of fun.
Right after that, you had the double, and then I know that you got to exchange some words with McGonigal. What was that like? What were you guys saying?
Yeah, obviously, first homer, a cool memory, but I said I'm sorry. And he was like, nice catch, whatever. You got 4 yesterday, so, I had to take 1 away from you today. It's the only way we can get you out at this point.
Did you start the interaction with him, or did he say something to you first?
I looked his way. I think he said something first. But, no, the kid's special. You've seen it all spring. You've seen it last year in the minor leagues, and then you see him in the scrimmages against the Dominican. Kid's the real deal. He's got a short swing. Very fresh, but it looks like he belongs. So, I appreciate talent like that all day.
And like Sam was saying, you got thrown into center field a few seasons ago, and you have not skipped a beat. Have you reflected on that at all, just what it took for you to make that kind of catch yesterday and how far you've come?
Yeah, I kind of don't like to think about it. I kind of like to just go out there and play and be free. Anytime I think too much, it's not good for the game. So, going out there being an athlete, it's going to help me develop into the center fielder I am. I'm still looking to improve in some areas. So I can't say I'm all good at it and I've got everything down. But, it's just a lot of fun out there helping the team.
Jackson, you alluded to the idea yesterday that every day is a new day when you walk inside the clubhouse. How do you balance, I suppose, it being game 3 of an 162-game season tonight and the idea that you do want to salvage a win out of this series?
Yeah, man. I want to salvage a win out of every game, but you can't look in the past. We're on 2, but there's still 160 to play, like you said. So coming in today with a good attitude, good peace of mind, good energy, and we'll see what happens.
That was Padres center fielder Jackson Merrill earlier today inside the Padres clubhouse. Merrill cleaning up today. Again, that top of the lineup, a little bit different today for the Padres. Jake Cronenworth at second base, leading off Fernando Tatis Jr. in right field. Manny Machado at third base. Jackson Merrill in center, the top 4 in the Padres lineup. Speaking of Mr. Tatis, let's tell you what to watch for in tonight's game.
What's the one thing Sam Levitt will be keeping his eye on in today's game? This is What to Watch For. Presented by Genesis Home Improvements, San Diego's trusted painting, roofing, and window company. Save 15% today on a new beginning for your home. Visit GenesisHomeImprovements.com.
What to watch for here tonight in this series finale, Fernando Tatis Jr. is just 1 for 8 in his first 2 games of the season. But tonight he faces a pitcher that he's typically enjoyed hitting against in right-hander Jack Flaherty. Tatis is 7 for 13 with 6 extra base hits and 2 home runs lifetime against Flaherty. So should be a good matchup tonight for Fernando. Again, batting second. We'll see if Fernando can get to Flaherty and kind of get going here in the regular season here tonight. Our starting pitching matchup, Randy Vasquez against Jack Flaherty. Let's dive in.
Let's break down how today's starters are shaping up with our starting pitching preview on the Padres Radio Network.
On the mound for the Padres today, right-hander Randy Vasquez, the 27-year-old in 2025, 3.84 ERA and 133-plus innings, 78 strikeouts to 52 walks. Vasquez faced the Tigers last season in Detroit, and sorry to tell you, it was his toughest outing of the season. 2 innings, 6 earned runs given up. That was a season high on 5 hits. Vasquez was very good at Petco Park last year, hoping that trend continues here tonight. A 3.28 ERA at home, a 4.48 ERA on the road last year for Randy. Vasquez averaged 93.3 miles per hour with his fastball last season. That velocity was up to an average of 95.6 this spring. So we'll see if that velo rise stays true into the regular season for Randy Vasquez. Meanwhile, right-hander Jack Flaherty on the mound for the Tigers. The 30-year-old had a so-so 2025, 4.64 ERA in 31 starts. Faced the Padres last season in Detroit. He went 6 innings, 2 earned runs, and 5 hits given up. Last time Flaherty pitched in San Diego, it was Game 2 of the 2024 NLDS when he was a member of the LA Dodgers. Fernando Tatis Jr. had a home run against him that night. Flaherty giving up 4 earned runs in 5 innings and a third in that Game 2 of the NLDS. He has not been very good at Petco Park in his career. A 7.07 ERA in 3 starts during the regular season at Petco Park. He has a 4.21 ERA in 7 career regular season starts against the Padres. And that's a look at our starting pitching matchup here tonight. On the mound for the Padres, Randy Vasquez, and on the mound for the Tigers, Jack Flaherty. You've been listening to the EcoWater SoCal Padres pregame show on 97.3 The Fan and the Padres Radio Network. And as always, we very much appreciate you tuning in from wherever and however you're tuned in on this early Saturday evening. Well, the first 2 games of 2026, they haven't gone the Padres' way, losing 8-2, falling behind early on Thursday opening day. Then a 2-1 lead late yesterday, a 4-run 8th inning for the Tigers. They go on to win it 5-2. And certainly from a Padres standpoint, you don't want to get swept to begin the season. Padres will try to avoid that here tonight on a beautiful evening at Petco Park. When we come back, Jesse Agler, Tony Gwynn Jr. have the full starting lineups, first pitch, and all the play-by-play. I'll talk to you on our Jamul Casino Resort Padres postgame show when this one is over. You're listening to your home for San Diego Padres baseball, 97.3 The Fan, and the Padres Radio Network. Enjoy the game, everybody.